Hey everyone, I'm Rob and welcome to the test drive. Today, I'm reviewing the 2019 and 2020 BMW 330i, and today I'm going to tell you everything that you need to know about this completely redesigned, all-new luxury sports sedan. But before we get into the video, I just wanted to remind everybody that I have a GoPro giveaway going on my other channel called A Wander Affair. It's a channel that I have with my wife, and all you have to do is go to that channel, subscribe to it, and go to the giveaway video and comment on that video. It's that simple. And we're going to give away that GoPro as soon as the channel hits 1,000 subscribers, and that is going to be very, very soon. So before you do anything else, make sure you go there. I'm going to link everything in the description below with the instructions as well as above in the cards. Now, the BMW 3 Series has always been an icon in the sports sedan space. It's one of those cars that everybody knows, everybody is comparing other cars to, and for the last couple of years, I feel like its competitors kind of started to outdo it as they came out with more modern vehicles. If you look at the new Mercedes C-Class or the new Audi A4, I've driven both of them on the channel, and they are phenomenal cars. And while I've always liked the 3 Series, I feel like it was just getting to the point where it was kind of outdated. So I was so happy when I saw BMW come out with this car, which looks and feels a lot like a shrunken 5 Series. And the current generation 5 Series has been doing really well. It's such a great car, and I've driven multiple 5 Series variants on the channel as well. So today, this is my first time in the new 3 Series finally, and I'm really excited to share the experience with you today because this is a great car and BMW did a really good job with it. Now, the 330i is the entry-level 3 Series BMW in North America. I believe that in Europe, I know there's a 320d, which is a diesel variant. I think there may also be a 320i. Before in North America, there was a 320i. Now we have the 330i, and then we have the M340i, like BMW is doing with pretty much all its series now. We're having these M Light models, and then we're waiting anxiously for the new M3 to come out, which is hopefully going to be really soon. It sounds like that's going to come out for the 2021 model here. So like in every other review, we're going to start with the exterior of the 2019 and 2020 BMW 330i, and I have to say that BMW did a great job redesigning this car. I love the front end. I think it looks so much more modern, so much more luxurious, and significantly more expensive than the previous generation 3 Series. Now, for a more aggressive front end, I would definitely opt for the M Sport package. Like with every M Sport package, you get a more aggressive front bumper, but I still really like the look of this one. The new 3 Series also looks quite a bit longer than the previous generation, and I like that a lot. It just makes it look a little bit more expensive, a little bit more 5 Series-esque in my opinion. The 330i also comes standard with these 18-inch wheels that I really like, and there are obviously a bunch of different wheel designs, but these are the standard wheels, and they look really good. They don't look standard or basic, at least in my opinion, at all. And then from the rear, I really like the look of this car. I love the new taillights. They are a much better design, and I also like that you get dual exhaust standard, one on each side, versus the previous generation 330i had the 2 tips on one side and then no tips on the other side. So I think the way it's set up now is just more sporty. There are also a bunch of different paint choices for the new 330i. There's a white and a black that are a no-cost option, and then everything else pretty much is a $550 upgrade. The car that I'm driving is Vermont Bronze Metallic, and it is probably one of my least favorite BMW colors that I've ever seen. I just don't really like it. I think it just kind of looks like a weird shade of brown. That's just my opinion. Probably some people that really love the color of this 3 Series, but I just think there are so many better choices. Then when you get to the interior, it's again like this is not even remotely the same car as the previous generation. It's more luxurious, more modern. I have to say the seating surfaces are significantly nicer. Now, the standard surfaces are, of course, BMW's Sensatec. You can either get it in like a black, dark charcoal type of color, or you can get it in this beige that is in the car that I'm driving today. And these seats do feel really nice. They're very soft, and there's probably a lot of people that wouldn't even realize that this isn't actually real leather. However, for only not even $1,500, you can upgrade to many different colors of the Vernasca leather. I think for $1,500 it's kind of a no-brainer, but still, it's nice to see that this Sensatech is still really nice and again, doesn't feel basic. I also love that the standard seats have adjustable side bolsters. It's just kind of a sporty touch. It does make it more fun, especially when you're going around windy roads. And these bolsters are pretty aggressive for just, again, being the standard seats. Now this 3 Series also has plenty of room. The driver and front passenger have plenty of room. It doesn't feel like the seats are too close together. The seats themselves are decently wide, and then the back seat is significantly larger than the previous generation 3 Series. I'm 6 feet tall and I can sit behind myself with no problem at all. Somebody bigger than me could sit in the back seat pretty comfortably. And then you also have a decent sized trunk that is perfect for fitting multiple golf bags, multiple suitcases. This car is just sized so well. You have soft touch surfaces all over the inside of this car. It definitely feels well made. You have a nice soft steering wheel. It's nicer again than the standard steering wheel in the previous generation 3 Series, but I have to say the M Sport steering wheel is kind of always the way to go in my opinion with BMWs, and you can get that in the M Sport package. I also love the new gear selector in this new 330i. It's like this weird cube shape, and of course you get a moonroof standard. This is bigger than the previous generation 3 Series moonroof, and you get a black headliner, also standard as you would expect in a BMW or any luxury sedan really. Now when you get to the performance in the 2019 and 2020 BMW 330i, it again doesn't disappoint at all. I have to say that the performance that this car gives you is pretty much what almost every 3 Series buyer would want. I think it's more than enough for almost everybody, and if it's not, you do have the M340i, and if you're a complete performance freak, there will be a new M3, but under the hood of this 330i is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder putting out a respectable 255 horsepower and then a surprising 295 pound-feet of torque, which when optioned with the xDrive all-wheel drive system makes this thing sprint from 0 to 60 in only 5.3 seconds, which is really freaking good for a 4-cylinder. That is really good. And this car is fun to drive. It feels quick. It pushes you back in your seat, but not in an overwhelmingly aggressive way. It does feel very tame, and you do have multiple different driving modes. You can put it in sport, which I have it in now. You can also put it into manual mode, and the shifts are, well, on downshifts, it's basically instant. On upshifts, it's kind of so-so. This car is fun to drive and it handles well and it feels really good. It's a kind of a perfect balance of that luxury and sporty aspect. It also rides really nicely. It does feel very refined. It doesn't sound the best. The engine note does sound a little bit artificial. I will say that you get some really nice crackles and pops. It's really surprising. All 330i's in America are of course paired with the 8-speed ZF automatic transmission, and it's a great transmission. I miss the manual, obviously. Yeah, this is a quick car. Something that's kind of interesting when you put this car in sport, at low speeds, it's a little bit jerky. It almost kind of feels like a dual clutch transmission, and I don't mind that at all. There's some people that maybe wouldn't like that, and those are probably people that would never want to drive this car in sport anyways. But it's kind of interesting the way the car behaves in sport, because it obviously holds gears longer. The throttle's a little bit more aggressive, but the steering is not that different. Now we're just gonna floor it. It takes a little bit for the boost to kick in, but once it does, this thing is good. For 99% of buyers, this is more than enough, and it's a really fun car to drive. It's absolutely no slouch at all. BMW just did such a great job at redesigning this car. I can't specifically think of something from the driving aspect or from the design aspect that I would have done differently. Now, when you get to the technology in the 2019 and 2020 BMW 330i, at least from what I've seen, I believe there is a significant difference in one facet of the technology, and that has to do with what you get in terms of the infotainment system. So, the car that I'm driving today is a 2019 330i. The infotainment system that comes standard in this car doesn't really have much. It doesn't have navigation, it doesn't have Apple CarPlay. You can add that stuff. It doesn't have satellite radio either. But for 2020, when you configure a BMW 330i, you automatically, for no cost, get the Sport line, and that gives you navigation. It gives you Apple CarPlay. It also gives you parking sensors, front and rear, which this car doesn't have either. It has a backup camera, but it doesn't have the sensors, which is odd. Now, that said, I still really like the technology in here. This is a really nice looking infotainment screen. Obviously, you can use the scroll wheel or the touch functionality. You also have a fully digital instrument cluster, which is also really nice, and you can upgrade for only $1,100 to that even newer instrument cluster. I think it's called like Pro Pilot or something like that. I'm gonna put the actual name on the screen because I'd sound really stupid trying to say it when I obviously don't know the name. But I have to say, I like the setup of the standard gauge cluster better because it still looks like a normal gauge cluster, it's just digital, and I like that better than what they tried to do with that higher end instrument cluster. Unfortunately, keyless entry is not standard in this car, although you can get it relatively inexpensively. It's just one of those weird things though that I kind of expected when I put the key in my pocket and walked up to this car, but it was the same thing in the 2019 X3 that I drove on the channel not that long ago. Now, here are some features that I think are a must if you're gonna customize this car from the factory. At least these are the ones that I would pick. I would definitely get the ambient lighting package for only $250, the $875 Harman Kardon surround sound system. The stock sound system in this car actually doesn't sound that good, at least in my opinion. The Harman Kardon sound system, I think, is a pretty inexpensive and very nice upgrade if you at all care about sound. I would also get the $250 power lift gate just because I think it's cool. Why not? Only 250 bucks. You can also get the adaptive M suspension for only $700, which I think is also a very nice and very inexpensive upgrade and makes this car even sportier. However, if you're somebody who really wants to take this car to the next level and doesn't want to get an M340i, you can also get, for only not even $2,500, the track handling package, which gives you steering upgrades, suspension upgrades, brake upgrades, and it gives you non-run flat tires, which are so much better from a performance standpoint than the run flats that come standard on most BMWs. So I hope you enjoyed this review of the 2019 and 2020 BMW 330i. Once again, I'm Rob. This is the test drive. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any awesome upcoming videos. I have so many more reviews in the works, as well as a bunch of mods coming for my 2019 440i. So stick around and make sure you don't miss any of that. And thanks again for taking this test drive with me.